All right, welcome back. We're joined now by the parish president of Terrebonne Parish, Mr. Gordon Dove. And Gordon, good to see you. And I guess before we talk about pump systems and everything else, I got so used to talking about COVID with you. Where are we with COVID? It seems like everything's been real quiet, which I'm gonna knock on every piece of wood I can see. We're gonna keep it that way, but I guess officially, have you seen it ramp down?
Yeah, Martin, the positivity rate is about 2.4, and we're getting 5, 6 a day in new cases. I mean, compared to 500 a day we were getting at one point, and hospitalizations down at both hospitals, down in the single digits. You know, it fluctuates back and forth, and it definitely is, curtailing. And the big thing, our positivity rates way down, and we're still monitoring it. I mean, we haven't, with everything else going after the Hurricane Ida and all, but we still have to keep an eye on it, and everyone still needs to be diligent and careful, and if you're shaking people's hands, it's try to fist bump them, and I mean, this stuff still spreads, and it does kill people from time to time. Not near what the 19 did, but it is still a dangerous virus.
We talk about Mardi Gras quite a bit, and I know a lot of people were going, well, why are they having Mardi Gras? No, not a lot. There's only a few times I heard it. And we had to get back to living. We had to get back to acting normal, but we didn't see a big bump after Mardi Gras.
No, Martin, we sure didn't. It really went off, without a hitch. And of course, every parade had a lot of people, but Mardi Gras Day especially was unbelievable at the amount of people.
But they were outside too.
Yes, they outside, and mostly it's family with family, so they're around each other anyway. But it was unbelievable, the crowd that was Mardi Gras Day. That was something I hadn't seen for quite a while. So
yeah, they said it was.
People were ready to get out.
It was tremendous. Let's talk about. We'll start on this segment if we have to go into the next segment, talking about the recovery from Hurricane Ida. What would your assessment be at this point?
Martin, it's going fabulous. I mean, we're in the 6 months into it, and we've about cleaned all the bayous out, the ditches, the debris. We're up to 9 million cubic yards of debris. And, it's all been, everything's picked up. Now, still people tearing stuff down, going to the streets with it. The parish itself, we have a team going around picking up the small trash. It's that for some reason, not a lot of people, but certain people believe they can still throw stuff out of a window. So we're having to try to keep the parish clean, and which we are. Clay Knocking is doing a wonderful job about that. But the biggest thing is cleaning these bayous. DRC and by Public Works have really done a great job working at it, and also with Clay Knockin and David Rome. We really did. I just passed on Big Bar Black by St. Charles Street. They've got a boat working that area.
Yeah, that's a little tricky at times, because I know some people have called us here and said that, well, there's still matter of fact, they've said the word tanks a couple of times. Y'all can't just go picking up tanks, because there might be hazardous material in it, right?
Well, vessels and tanks and stuff, like especially down Little Caillou in Terrebonne Bayou, is those vessels have diesel in it, and of course they're owned by someone. We have to get their permission, but really, according to the EPA, they really don't want you fooling with it till it's been gas-free and environmentally safe. They don't want you picking up a vessel and it splits in half, and next thing you know, we got a big diesel or oil spills. And remember, your engines could have, your engine could have coolant in it and antifreeze, and
so those
you
take
have
a little
batteries.
Yeah, those take a little longer to clean up than regular trash.
Yeah, we're actually going into a government agreement with the levee board, and they are going to, between the levee board and the parish, we're going to start picking up the vessels, because a lot of the vessels are on the right-of-ways of the board. We met with Reggie Dupre and others, Tony Alford, and every other members of the board, of the levee board, and we're we're trying to move quick with that. That's about our biggest hurricane deal left. Now, rebuilding's going fine. You don't see the blue roofs. People still fighting with insurance. Of course, that's going to go on for a while, I believe. And but there's a lot of construction went on. Sales tax have been up from 36 to 46% collections because of the hurricane. And your property taxes are down, but then the sales tax made a difference. So Terrebonne Parish is very, very fiscally strong right now. We definitely not. We ahead of the game money wise because of the sales tax.
Yeah, and with about a minute left in this segment, I'm sure in your own mind y'all created a mental handbook at least how to handle things after Hurricane Ida. But well, what a hurricane to learn from, right?
Martin, we really have it together. My administration, we put together the guidelines. They never had them before. In previous days, they just would wait for the hurricane to come. There was no organization, and you saw what happened with Ike and Gustav, how terrible it was, and it was very unorganized. Everything clicks now. Department heads know what they have to do. We have our EOC center open, and of course the parish is under me. The buck stops with the parish president. That's the way the state statute, the state statute is written.
But in a few months, hurricane season is back.
March, April, May. That's 3 months.
Yeah,
we're back in it.
So when the power went out the other night with a pretty windy storm that roared through, and I was driving back from a function, I was reliving Hurricane Ida because everything was black for a while. But it really makes you remember, and it makes you think what we went through. Y'all got power up pretty quickly, but it always feeds that memory back about what we got to get ready for. As a parish president, it's every year. You got to gear up for it, don't you?
Yeah, Martin, remember the power plant is out because it messed up the boilers on the power plant on Barrow Street. So we can't just go to our backups, but we did find the problem and got it back on. And remember, with hurricane season right around the corner, under my administration, we've added 30 pump stations. So we're not scrambling to get pump stations ready. We still have a couple under construction, but most of those are like Elliott Jones. We already have Hanson in place. Another thing, if remember after I took office, we realized, I found out that none of your old pump stations had backup generators. It took us 2 years to rewire all these pump stations and put backup generators. So you had that, like the other night. When electricity goes out, if you don't have a backup generator, you flood. And that's all done. So a lot of things are in place. Everything's, we have a continuous levee from 6 miles to the east of Pointe-aux-Chenes all the way to Miners Canal over there by Mormon Ridge and Delorge. And then from there, we have it all the way to Gibson. So we have a lot of protection in place. It's not near the preparation that when I took office, we had to. Remember, when I took office, more than nothing was organized. There was nothing organized. We had to put it all together, and me, my department heads, and the council, we put it together, and my department head stepped up to the plate, and it was really, everything came together, and we're ready. Right now, we're ready for the next hurricane season. Now, we have a big problem in the parish. We have a lot of travel trailers all over the place. That is going to be a logistical nightmare, but we're going to handle it, and people are going to have to get out of them or move them, do one or the other. Of course, those travel trailers are pretty easy to disconnect and move away. And
I know you were on the set when Chip Klein was actually talking last year, and they had a plan to try to help some of the people in the low-lying areas because of the reverse head we have with some of these storms. Any progress on what's been done? I know bayoushane is right there, but any other work that is in the planning?
Bayoushane is up and ready. It's so that gate can be closed. That's huge for us, and it is operational. Some good news today: the statewide flood program. About 2 years ago, I applied for $10 million, which we have it approved today. It's $5 million for a pump station on Bayou Terrebonne below Montague. And to the people of Acadian subdivision, I'm happy to announce We have $5 million to go ahead and, start the construction of a pump station right there off Industrial. Remember, we refurbished that whole pump station. It was deplorable, like a lot of other pump stations were. And, we're probably looking at about a year and a half when we should have a new pump station in place, helping the people of Acadia and Paris Lane and all that area there. So, but yeah, like I said, we've got numerous. All the pump stations are ready to go. Like right now, we're pumping down all the systems because of the storm we're expecting coming in. So,
But they're saying about a half inch of rain, they're saying, or could be a little more.
yeah, we generally expect it from a half inch to 3 inches. You never know what blows in,
Right.
but we pump our systems down automatically now. Remember, 50% of all the pump stations now are on telemetry and SCADA. That before I took office, you didn't have that. I mean, you had a couple of small pump stations that had telemetry. SCADA is where you operate them, So it's all ready. It's really in good shape. It's not a lot for us to get ready, and we're just going to move forward with the next hurricane season.
Who's in charge of making sure all the batteries are charged and the generators are going to kick on and all that? I'm sure you have.
Public Works, we run them every week. Every pump station in this parish, and it's started and stopped once a week, and run to make sure there's not a problem. And we have 100% of our pump stations running right now, and which is 110. Remember, I added 60% of the pumping capacity of Terrebonne in the last 6 years. That when I took office.
And that's a lot of 8D batteries too.
That's a lot. Yeah. and you got when we started, we had 10,000 CFS. Remember, 10,000 CFS was done over the past 50 years. And in 5 years, we added 6,000 CFS to the system. And that's, if you're familiar with cubic foot per second, it's a lot. And so the parish is in great shape, and we shouldn't have the problems of the past. We won't have the problems of the past. We've got water under control. Now, we still have to make sure everyone builds to the building codes.
If we could
For
only
wind.
just put a dome over Terrebonne during storm events, we'd be okay, right?
I can stop the water, Martin, the wind. You're on your own.
Yeah, you're right about
I can't
that.
stop the wind.
The area of Lake Boudreaux and also Petit Caillou and all those areas, because the phenomenon we saw with two storms, especially Ida, on that reverse head was, I think we all learned from it. That's, and like you said one time on the show, you learn every day from it. Engineers learn every day from it. What's the progress on that at this point?
Well, Martin, when Ida came in, of course, Terrebonne never experienced a hurricane of that magnitude, but especially a reverse head where it was coming from the north. Well, as you know, it pushed the water out of Lake Boudreaux into Petit Caillou. Well, the first avenue it went was Boudreaux Canal. Now, they have a weir that the rocks were supposed to, they have a weir in Boudreaux Canal that the rocks were supposed to be lifted years ago, and of course, the parish dropped the ball back 8-9 years ago, long before I got in office. And so myself, Reggie Dupree, and Tony Alfred got together, and we split the cost on that. I supplied the rocks, they're gonna put them in place. We're gonna lift that rock weir in Boudreaux Canal to a +8. Right now, it's maybe a +1. So when that water started pushing around, it channeled straight into Petit Caillou. And of course, we're looking at lifting the road from Boudreaux Canal to Robinson Canal. We looked at putting rocks, which that's still on the table, but we're looking at getting the state to lift that road entirely. But if we stop the water in Boudreaux Canal, we believe we're going to stop a lot of it.
Yeah, there's no doubt about that. How's the Bubba Dove? It got damaged during Ida. Is it back in place or close to being in
It's
place?
still in the it's in the shipyard. It should be moving out in 3-4 weeks. And the good thing is, if you pass it on a Homer Nav, you can see the construction of the lock system. The $360 million lock system is well under. We're looking at about 3 years of construction, but it's under construction finally. It took us about 8 years.
Right.
Because it was BP fine money that had to go through the U.S. Treasury and back around with the engineering and all. It was a long process. But that system, remember that system, all you do is open up the lock system if you have a reverse head and let the water out. because they'll have a Cat 5 house on it that someone will maintain the Bubba Dove floodgate and lock system. So that's under construction, fully funded. That's, major construction going on. Also, to the east of Pointe-a-Sham, Tony Alford and the levee board have a dredge working on Grand Bayou, adding more levees in, trying to close us in to South Lafourche levee. And we're hoping that we have continuity before the hurricane season, which is in Lafourche Parish. In Terrebonne, we have continuity.
But that was
all the
really
way.
something that was sort of a weak spot, and they're trying to address it.
That's right. That was between Pointe-a-Sham and the South Lafourche levee in the middle of the marsh.
Right.
And
I think they had HESCO baskets out there forever.
we had HESCO baskets, and of course the floodgate was operational for Ida, thank goodness.
Right, no doubt.
And so all that's done. I mean, it's just the projects get less and less and less. So now we're going into projects that we don't have to do so expeditiously, but we're moving forward with them now.
Yeah.
Because we finished so much of it.
The major stuff's either been permitted, completed, or funded, so it's well underway. Let me ask you, with about 2.5 minutes left, big dedication coming this week at the Civic Center. The official renaming and branding is going to take place.
Oh yeah, Martin. There wasn't a finer parish president than Barry P. Bonvillain, and my heart goes out to his wife, Ray, and his family. And it was a no-brainer to name the Civic Center, because Civic Center would have never been built without him. Remember, the last a new pump station built in Terrebonne Parish was built by Barry Bonvillain.
Yeah.
After Barry, there was no more pump stations
Was that
built.
11B?
That was the 11B system that was built by him, plus a couple of other ones. And so Barry was big on drainage, but for 15 years it just wasn't much done. And then we came along, and of course we kept it going. And Barry was a pillar of the community, and he's sorely missed. And I think the tribute to the Civic Center named after him is a tribute to his accomplishments. And he was, he loved this parish, and
That was his big thing, to get that Civic Center up. He talked about it forever, and I could be wrong, but I think maybe he used some Texaco money or something to build it.
Texaco, and remember, he had the wherewithal to build these large doors to allow the floats to go through them. For the first time, they went through them this last Mardi Gras, and it was wonderful. I was there. I mean, I actually led the parade through it. And it was just wonderful to see. The crowd was just tremendous. You were there. You were the MC of it. And I mean, what a great tribute to Barry's thought way back then, that he was thinking of putting floats through the Civic Center long before they were going into the Superdome or any place else. He had the thought of wanting to do that, and it was never done till that last year.
Yeah, and he was one of the parish presidents I got to cover in my career. I think it's up to 8 now. You're one of them, of course, but he was certainly colorful. And as we close, Thursday, at 5 o'clock, right?
Yes, Thursday at 5 o'clock. Please come in honor of Barry Bonvillain.
All right, there you have it.
Well deserved.
Yep, from the parish president of Terrebonne Parish. Don't forget, Thursday, 5 p.m. in front of the Civic Center, the dedication to Barry Bonvillain. We'll take a break. We'll be back with a lot more. Don't go away.